I was very lucky to be his student. I'm interested in all this decrease of religion, decrease of civil activity and marriage and all that, how much the political correctness contribute to the mindset of all this decrease, and how much you have to say things this way, you can't think this way, you can criticize it. Well, how much of that contribute to all this American, in a way, well, it's a downfall?
I think that political correctness has had incalculable damage of all kinds. First, it's damaged the university system terribly. I mean, universities don't function the way that they're supposed to function as an open exchange of ideas. But think about a problem such as children being born to unmarried mothers, which is one of the most serious social problems we have. If you try to talk openly about that, you can be absolutely sure you will be called a racist. Absolutely sure. Because so much of the problem occurs in African American families. These days, a lot of the problem occurs in white families too, but never mind, you'll still be called a racist. You will be called a sexist because you will be blaming the woman, you'll be demonizing the woman, and it doesn't make any difference how hard you try to say, look, we're talking about what's best for children, we're talking about flourishing of children, and it's really important for us to understand what's going on, the causes of it, because if we don't understand that, we'll never come up with corrections. But you can't talk about any of this, or many people feel they can't, because they don't want to be denounced. They don't want to think of themselves as being bad people. Political correctness has simply stifled hard thinking about a wide range of social problems.
That's how I feel, is that I think when I came to this country, I'm talking as a former political prisoner from China. I spent a whole year in jail for talking too much. And what I feel is that compared to the country I came here in 1987, and now there's so much more things so many more things you cannot even talk about. It's very astonishing because, I lived under dictatorship. I kind of experienced it. I teach as well. Lots of students compared to students in the 90s. I taught a course at Harvard that time, and compared to students now. And I just realized there's so much they could not, they never, their mind never went there. And so, well, if you are giving the power, what do you suggest to do to the American higher education system?
I suggest that professors gain a little more courage. Professors with tenure have no excuse for not saying what they think. They aren't going to get fired. They can't get fired because they have tenure. A lot of the professors who are censoring themselves are, I think, simply displaying intellectual cowardice. Now, how do you change that? To some degree, it's going to be changed because of science, which is to say, right now, a lot of political correctness goes with the concepts that race is a social construct, gender is a social construct. These are artificial things that have no meaning, that we can change children if we have the right social programs. They don't take into account heritability. They don't take into account the limits on our ability to change people. Well, over the next many years, as we learn more about the genes, more about neuroscience in the brain and the rest of it, guess what? It will be found, I know this will shock all of our viewers, men are actually different from women. In lots of important different ways. Italians are different from Swedes. Scots-Irish are different from Chinese. It's not that they're superior or inferior, but there are lots of differences in personality, in social behavior, in all sorts of other things. These are not things that we have to be afraid of. We have been afraid to talk about such things, but it's going to be increasingly difficult to hang on to a political orthodoxy that in many ways is intellectually pretty silly.
Yeah, well, you talk about university. I just want to, add a little bit because I have some experience on that. Well, you have the tenure system, you have the tenure track, and if you don't follow the correct way, you will have no job. You don't get jobs. Even you can't publish. You're not employable in many ways. And I have like some Harvard, even my Harvard classmate, who are not that correct, and then have real trouble to get jobs, and so.
Yeah, the social sciences and humanities in our universities are a mess. They are intellectually no longer rigorous. They no longer pursue truth. They deny the idea that there are standards of excellence in literature or in music or in the visual arts. They discard some of the world's treasures because they were written by dead white males. It's a mess. And my only hope is this, that university professors are very concerned about how smart they are. I mean, I've written a book about IQ, and I can tell you that the same professor who says, oh, IQ doesn't measure anything, is very concerned about his own IQ. Well, the thing that professors least like to do is sound stupid. And as time goes on, a lot of the politically correct ideological positions on the arts and the social sciences are going to sound stupid. And I think the embarrassment of saying things that are known to be scientifically wrong may eventually pull the politically correct into a more reasonable way of looking at the world.